At the edge of a river, where the water runs sky blue, and the sand sparkles like stars in the sky, and salmon skip on lace-covered stone, sits at the river's edge an old woman, woven into her rainbow locks are Venus and Oshun, Lakshmi and Persephone sit with flowers, water, and honey, laced milk gloriously threaded throughout. At her ears sits Oya, ever listening, ever hearing. From her mouth comes Kali, tongue red with blood. Her eyes shine with Durga, ever seeing, ever knowing just what's what, just when, just where, just how, just at the river's edge. Her belly swollen and her belly full, she holds a frame drum in hands calloused and smooth, in hands browned and weathered. She pounds out a rhythm to the song she sings, and a voice like thunder and water at a fall. Dee 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 dum dum, dee 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 dum dum, dee 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 day. On her face, wrinkles like deep crevices carry water that flow down like hair into her bosom. Her breast, large and luminous like the sun and the moon, caress her belly. On her belly, her full, full belly, tigers and panthers stalk their mammal animal kin, tearing into them with their great jaws. Hawks carry away chickens and squirrels quarrel with mice. Buffalo graze on the sacrificial grass and elephants chew on their sister trees. A breeze rustles through the branches and peace settles on a leaf while the old woman just sings to the rhythm of the drum. Dee 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 da dee do do, dee 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 day day, dee 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 do. All about her navel and leading down into her thighs. Sand-fringed oceans converse with stone-heeled mountains. Crashing waves of high fives and goodbyes gnaw away at brother stone. Children and old folks, maiden and men, gather and nurture on her belly, her bosom, her thighs. They gather and slaughter, they gather and feed, eating their fill from the milk of her breast, the meat on her hips. They gather for dead, they gather for dying, and they gather for born. Into buildings they run, into cars they leave, roads of dark pot-holed tattoos thread across her limbs, and the old woman sings. Tee dee tee dee tee dee dum dum, tee dee tee dee tay tay, tee dee tee dee tay tee om. From her navel, rainbow-colored thread stretches towards a loom, where her feet guides petals that turn the threads of light into matter, into a tapestry of stars and planets. At her right foot, a large loom of luminous white light and silver, violet, orange, blue, green streaks of lightning turn and creates a tapestry of planets and gods and galaxies, distant and far. With their own mysteries, they move and shine as nebula pixels and vibrant colors. At her left foot, a smaller loom, slow and creaking, shadow and gray, grabs the threads of light and matter. Stars and planets, galaxies and nebulae superfine are crushed beneath its will, returning them to the sister loom, where they began a new cycle in the star-lit tapestry. Tee-dee, tee-dee, taddy, toe, toe, tee-dee, tee-dee, tay, tay, tee-dee, tee-dee, toe. At the beginning, the old woman sang into being all of creation, and it is a song she continues to sing and weave with her right loom of light and lightning. At the beginning, the old woman sang into being all of destruction, and it is a song she continues to sing and weave with her left loom of shadow and mystery. From this song, the old woman sings life. Tee-dee, tee-dee, taddy, do, do, tee-dee, tee-dee, tay, tay, tee-dee, tee-dee, tay, toko. Welcome, all you beautiful my earth folk of every shine, hue, sexuality, or whatever diverse you bees. You are welcome here. Because if there is one thing that the earth goddess does well, it's diversity, babies. It's Progress Pride Month every day of the year for her. Black history is human history. Indigenous history is earth history. So welcome you. You are listening to the podcast, Being My Inspirations for Living in Balance with the Divine Earth. I am your inspirational guide, Bobby L. And here I will offer eco-theologies of the divine Ma Earth, the goddess of many names. For today, our goddess is Mahadevi, the supreme goddess in Hinduism, the goddess of all gods. This Mother Earth goddess, she is also called you and me and we. Here on this podcast, you will find eco-theologies of hope and possibility for a world whirling through change, chaos, catastrophe, and just general mayhem. We will travel together on our collective journey to heal a world in crisis of separation. Separation from our Mother Earth, from Great Spirit, our Creator, in whom we live, move, and have our being. Separation from one another by race, gender, immigration status, religion, and on. This is our journey of healing the separation, if we allow it. A forest heals and creates new life after the devastation of fire. The land is cleared and nutrients are added to the soil after a flood. So the world will not end. Hate will not prevail, for we will not let it. All we need to do is remember that we are the divine earth, and she is us. She is not the little old woman who lived in a shoe, had so many children, she didn't know what to do. Oh no, oh no, she is the goddess, the mother, the shoe, the children, and she knows exactly what to do. Through you and through all of her different aspects in nature, she knows how to heal herself. And we are herself. So don't you worry, little stormy weathers. The sun ain't gonna stop shining. The earth ain't gonna stop turning just yet. And the attacks on diversity and love and liberation and immigration won't stick. It's going to be okay, though perhaps a bit of a bumpy ride as we're seeing. So buckle up, bumblebees, and put on your dance shoes, because there is only one thing to do when you're scared, skinless, and that's to dance, baby, because joy is the emotion the universe rides on, and it's the one thing haters hate is us living our joy. On today's episode, we are going to explore a common concept that many struggle with. If God is love, why is there so much suffering? I'm going to give this my good old college try because it's a big topic. In this next hour, I'll offer you considerations about the nature of God, Goddess, of love as held by the divine, and the hope that is evolution. These considerations come from the lens of the ancient mother goddess tradition of which we will talk about. So all you my earth girls and boys and folks, grab some rosebud tea to help you ground. It also helps with inflammation. Grab your fluffiest slippers or your keys and your sneakers and listen in to this inaugural episode of Being My Earth. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'd like to grow this channel. One of my favorite sermons to give is based on the biblical text from the New Testament. It's 1 John 4:16, which in the New International Version says, "He who lives in love lives in God." Now, I would argue that perhaps all sacred texts which offer wisdom for living should be able to have some cross-religious spiritual capacity. So though I am an animist, I still go to the wisdom tradition of my birth, which was Christianity, and I find great wisdom there. As an animist, I have lifted this text out of context, which is not uncommon. It happens every Sunday, as it was written perhaps 1900 years or so ago by a writer that we assume was the Apostle John, but of course we have no definitive proof of this assumption. He was writing to early Christians, urging them to watch for false teachers and to follow the path of love. Now, I tend to pick on this text because it is one of the texts from which the phrase, God is love, is derived from in our modern Judeo-Christian societies. How often have you heard someone say, God is love, God is love, don't you worry, God is love? And how often have you thought to yourself, really? Really? Are you sure? Because there is a lot of pain and suffering out there. How could a God that is love allow so much evil in the world? And this is where my animist brain begins to do some translation. Because in order to validate this assertion as true, we have to first understand exactly who God is. So here's a bit of a historical theological lesson. Before the age of the desert Aryan kings, nearly 4,500 years ago, during the Bronze Age, the separation between the goddess, God, and nature is non-existent. Joseph Campbell, in his writings, describes the time before the ages of the great kingdoms of the East, the Mesopotamian, Babylonian, Assyrian kingdoms, as a time in which the mother goddess held supreme in all of the sacred stories. Her being during this Bronze Age was infused into every plant, every star, every human, and every God. She was they, and they were she. She was every story and every theology. She was bountiful, beautiful, terrible, and wondrous. She was the source of all animist belief, the belief that everything is alive and has a life force. But so it was that the time of the patriarchal religions began to rise. For the lands of the Aryan North knew little bounty, and her peoples knew little ease, except that which they might gather from their kindred structures. The people knew fire, and they knew war. And so, in their desperation, they called upon their ancestral tribal gods, the gods of thunder and storm and war, to establish a place of bounty for them. And so it came to be that the great warrior gods of thunder and storms rode down from the northern places on the backs of the Aryan warlords, herdsmen of the desert, whose ancestral tribal gods rose above nature, rose against other gods, demanding obeisance, demanding dominance, demanding separation, and a leaving behind eventually of the mother goddess, a leaving behind of a power that could not be left behind. To try is pure folly, for she or they is that in which we all live, move, and have our being. But for these great northern warlords, whose descendants became the ancient Babylonian, Mesopotamian, and many more kings of the East, their ancestral tribal god was the true God, the most powerful of all gods, because, of course, he must be if your goal is to conquer. This God granted them rights and power to lands not their own, for the land cannot be owned. She belongs to her own divine self, thank you very much. And yes, there remains many other gods, even mother goddesses. But during the course of 1,000 years or more, these deities became less powerful until God became one and separate above nature. And so, once the mother goddess perceived that her element of fire, which exploded within the hearts of the great warriors of the north, some thousands and thousands years past, she intuited that their journey of evolution was one of individuation, of cognitive separation from her. She understood that their intent was destruction, obliteration, and total control and power over nature, leaving behind her lessons of balance. And so, in her love, she conspired to place seeds of her being in every breath, in every story, in every theology. She is there, hidden, waiting for now. For her path of life is a cycle that is always changing and bending back towards her. Now, I want to be clear that indigenous communities across the planet never completely forgot. They have been the holders of her wisdom, and it is from them that I have learned so much. Yes, there is an encroaching level of forgetfulness due to modernity, but the first peoples of the North and South Americas, the Africas, the Africans, the Asians, the Aboriginals, who yet follow the ways of nature and the Mother Goddess, they did not forget. So we see the seeds of her being. In Abrahamic religions, God has many names, but is considered he who breathed the breath of life into Adam in Genesis of the Hebrew Bible, and he in whom we live, move, and have our being in the New Testament book of Acts. The creator energy is embedded in the soul and gifted through the filling of the Holy Spirit. When Moses first encounters God, it is through the living expression of the divine in fire and earth, a burning bush. In Islam, some sects yet venerate trees, stones, serpents. The breath of life is known to be in those beings. Rumi, you know Rumi, Sufi mystic within the Islamic faith, wrote of the journey of the soul. A stone I died and rose again a plant. A plant I died and rose an animal. I died an animal and was born a man. Why should I fear? What have I lost by death? Yes, yes, she, the Mother Earth Goddess, planted her seeds of being everywhere. And Ifa, the Nigerian religion that crossed with many enslaved West Africans, and today makes up the Lukumi and Candomblé religions of the American diaspora. God is Olorun, the supreme deity, the Lord of heaven. This creator energy manifest as Imi, which means breath. It is that part of us that is infinite and non-material, the part that is Olorun, that infuses all beings, animal, plants, water, stone. Ashe is another word for divine power that is imbued in every aspect of the earth. In Hinduism, the grandmother, the eldest of all established religions, God is Brahman, the ultimate reality and the highest universal principle. All beings come from Brahman. Brahman is Atman, the essence of the divine which manifests in all life, and Jivatman is the individual soul which connects us to Brahman. God in all of these religions is a part of us. The goddess has rested the seeds of her being in the breath of all of our sacred stories. So no, we are not a regurgitation, beings that were spit up and out and made separate by God, but rather a manifestation of spirit as flesh. The Earth Mother Goddess is us, experiencing themselves in human form. As an animist, this is where my focus and understanding of God, Goddess is, within. We often pray to the God without, and that is a legacy of our patriarchal kings of the North, but it is not necessary to reach so far. She is in the bird song and in the whisper of brother wind. She is in the rush of gravel beneath our feet and felt in the bark of the tree. She is even in those difficult places where it seems so very hard to find her. In those forests of towering concrete and glass, and those bullet-hewn stairwells stank with the putrid smell of piss. She is there, perhaps forgotten, but never gone. Yes, yes, oh yes, the goddess has embedded the seed of themselves within every aspect of the universe. And one of our responsibilities, other than to just live and experience life, is to reconnect with that divine essence that is eternal within us. Connecting to the goddess within, sometimes called the higher self, is the work. It is the work that helps us to flourish and become our very best self. In Greek, the word is eudaimonic, daemon. Eudaimonic simply means that which is the divine and helps us to flourish and live the best versions of ourselves. The one that sees ourselves not as separate from the earth, from the goddess, from one another, but an integral part of a codependent system of life. Now look, When we see God in every living being, that has implications. Yes, implications. And we know about implications. To quote John again, 1 John 4 and 7, he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. Knoweth not God. If you don't love, you don't know God, because God is love. Now, if I was going to be my petty self, I'd pull out all kind of judgments right now, and but I'm not. I am going to be my eudaimonic self and move on from my judgments and just say that this is a profound statement and one that gets at the heart of our opening premise that Goddess, the God, is love. But in order to fully access this love, we have to realize that the Goddess is in everybody. It's in everybody. Yes, yes, Goddess is in that politician that you hate, in that seafood and that green Goddess dressing that you ate, in that neighbor who drives up and down the street in their obnoxious revving engines at 11 o'clock at night. We all got one of them. Goddess is in them as well, experiencing herself in the form of mountains and seas and cockroaches and rats and bunnies. Don't we all love baby bunnies? I should also note, and this is important, that the goddess God is essentially genderless. Um, this goddess as the Numina Nomos, which means the mysterious builders of this life experience, uh, they don't have a penis and they don't have a vagina and they don't have breasts. However, God, Goddess, as the eternal source of paradox, has both a penis, a vagina, and breast. If we had to give God a gender, they would be, or give them a sex, they would be a form of non-binary intersex. They are all of the genders, all of the sex, the cedar of life, and the birth of life. They are energy. We can understand and know the goddess by observing her in nature and in one another. And yet, she is beyond understanding because she is everything, beyond time, beyond form, beyond morals. She is balance, but she is not solely human. She is spirit inhabiting biological, earthen, and cosmological forms, big and infinitesimally small. This means that God ain't petty, punitive, small, or smiting. She is not waiting to say, gotcha. She doesn't play games. She's not going to say, pull my finger so she can fart in your face. They understand you and your imperfections, for she is experiencing herself as you. So the important point to make for everyone that zoned out for the last 20 minutes, the important point to sum it all up is that the goddess, this Mother Earth energy, is everything and everyone. There is nothing and no one that the goddess is not. They are not outside of you. She is the animating force that is you. They are the eternal element that lives on beyond the body that is the earth, but lives in all of the bodies of the earth, whether it is the human body or the tree body or the fire body or the bacterial viral body. She's there in that cold that somebody gave you and those allergies that are making you miserable. So within, so without. So this brings us to the next big question. What does love mean to an energy that doesn't keep petty in their pocket and also is not moral? Morality is a mostly human biological construct. There is an actual part of our brain that registers disgust. And that is one of the things that sort of shapes our morals. One of the things. Morality is mostly a human construct. Nature is cooperative and balanced. So, what does love mean to a being that exists beyond space and time, that is formless and at the same time is matter itself? What does love mean to a goddess that existed before the Big Bang and will exist after the death of our sun? What is love to a goddess that has presided over the creation of all life and over the extinction of entire species several times over? Scientists are saying that we are in perhaps the sixth great extinction. Remember, the dinosaurs had an expiration date. They were the big kahunas for like 165 million years. And then the Earth Mother Goddess sent a giant eraser in the form of an asteroid and said, honeys, it's time to evolve. It's time for our next creation. How do we define love when 99.9% of all species that have ever lived on this planet, and this includes our human ancestors like the Neanderthals and the Homo erectus, are extinct? 99.9%. According to current scientific estimations, the life on our planet today is just 0.1% of all of the life that ever existed on my earth. How is divine love defined under these circumstances? And this is this is worth repeating. 99.9, don't forget the 0.9% of all species that existed on this planet over the last 3.5 billion years have come and gone and been transformed, because nothing is ever wasted. They've been transformed into what you and I are today. 300,000 years ago in Chicago, my hometown, it was like Antarctica. I mean, it was glacial and was home to woolly mammoths. Today, Chicago is either windy and freezing or hot and so humid you could boil potatoes on the asphalt. And it's also home to cubs and bulls and bears of the human variety. Everything that is extinct, though, they're not really gone. They're still here in the essence that is you, that is I. So when we ask, what is a divine love that would allow the innocent to die daily in this war and that war? We've got lots of wars going on. What is love that would seem to allow all of our hard work for the equality of genders, sexualities, and ethnicities to be swallowed up in a bid towards homogenizing, idolizing hate? What is love for our immigrant loved ones who are being disappeared? What is love to an energy that would allow all of the oppressed and marginalized to yet again be pushed beneath the thumb of the great beast called modernity, that is powered by white, heterosexist, religious, hegemonic, trans, blind, binary, blocked phobias? I'm going to address this idea of love in two parts: the divine of us and the human of us, the earthen vessel of us and the divine animating aspects of us, the two as one. I propose to you today that what we call love is what is called life and creation itself by the goddess spirit of Ma'at, this noumena, mysterious and expansive energy of the universe. The goddess is life itself, undulating, changing, cycling, shedding, ending, creating, dying, birthing life. The Numina Nomos, mysterious builder of worlds, is the embodiment of love that is life, that is my earth, that is the entirety of the universe, and perhaps a continuum of universes. So when I think about what love means for the divine, again, it means life. Divine love is embodied by the creation and the experience of living. Nothing more, honeys, and nothing less. Simply the experience of being in a material form is an act of love, is an act of her love. For the divine is experiencing herself as matter. But here's the thing, and this is the crux of the issue, right? Here it is. We are not a finished product, okay? We have not arrived at perfection. We are imperfect. We live on a planet that must eat itself in order to survive. Everything is energy. We live in a system of interdependence and sacrifice. Just ask that chicken on your plate. Just ask that kale in your salad. But humans have a particular kind of viciousness not necessary for survival. And yet there is hope. The theoretical physicist Ahmed Goussami and the French theologian and philosopher Pierre Teilhard de Chardin both suggest that the world begins the journey of evolution imperfect, and the end of evolution is when we reach the omega point of perfection. So folks, look, we have not arrived at our next stage of evolution. We are not yet fully evolved. That explains so much. We are yet evolving. This current Anthropocene, the age of the human, has just begun. Now, I know we think we're all grown. I remember when I turned 18 and I couldn't nobody tell me nothing. I thought I was grown. I knew it all. And now that I got some dyed gray hairs, I realized I was a know-nothing, know-it-all, and self-righteous to boot. When I was young, I knew everything. Today, as I've reached my middle years, I know very little. I believe a bit more. And what I think and consider could fill the seven seas. The seven seas. And so here's one of the few things that I know. Modern humans are very young. One of the youngest species of the earth. We are one of the last to arrive in this current evolutionary age. Modern humans evolved about 300,000 years ago. 300,000 years isn't even a full inhale breath in on a planet that is nearly 4 billion years old. We just arrived. We are babies. According to the late physicist Carl Sagan, if we were to locate all of written human history on a calendar from January 1st to December 31st, we could find ourselves at 11:59 p.m. on December 31st. We're like a second. We got here a second ago. So when a minute. We got here. Give us an extra 59 seconds. We got here a minute ago. So when we ask, why so much suffering? Both the physicist and the philosopher would say the same. And here's my consideration to you. It's that we are still evolving. I mean, we're so young that our spiritual brains aren't even fully developed. We act imperfectly because we are imperfect. We are not a completed product. And I don't know about you, but that is a huge relief, because could you imagine if this was the best we got? It was just like, you see what's going on. This is the best. This is the best. This is not the best of us. We are still evolving. The goddess is still working and evolving herself as us, right? And we are not evolving alone as a species. We are evolving with the planet. We are evolving because she is evolving. And I, for one, derive some peace from this fact that we are evolving towards that omega point of perfection, which is unity with all that is within, without, above, below. Unity, this is important, that doesn't mean same, but means I see you, sweet cheeks, and all that makes you unique and fabulous and weird and strange. I see you, you the one that get on my last nerve. Oh, I see you, wonderful, fantastic, lovey-dovey you. I see you, and I offer blessings of the good life to you. But if I see you poison in the water, I'm going to have some words. Much of our human suffering does not come just because of death, illness, natural disasters, measures that the earth takes to keep herself from root rot, to keep herself healthy and alive. Death is just change. It is the doorway to beginning. Illness is a part of living within a fragile earthen vessel, and no aspect of the earth is yet immune to it. Much of our human suffering in the age of modernity comes from the pain we heap on one another due to our separation from one another, from the earth, and from the goddess that infuses it all with life. So to me, love, as embodied by humans, and this is the human part, in this divine context, is the desire to keep striving for survival, to keep striving for peace, to keep striving for justice, to keep striving for liberation, to keep striving for beauty, to keep striving for a life that remembers itself as one with all of creation and the Mother Goddess, the old woman universe herself. This striving is the evolutionary process of conscious movement towards balance. Martin Luther King said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. The arc is time, and justice is balance. Balance always comes in the fullness of time. The loom never stops weaving. She never stops singing the song of creation. We have been in this growing crisis of separation since the tribal warrior kings came riding down from the north on their chariots of destructive fire. Their descendants continued to imbue life into the warrior storm gods as they crossed seas, claiming bodies, claiming land, conscripting the earth and her peoples into their service and into their homogenizing stories. Like their ancestors, theirs was a path of claiming, burning, killing, destroying, and creating, building, innovating, preparing, preparing, preparing for our next stage of evolution. Now is not the time in this deep period of collective suffering, separation, polarity, to hold on to dead roots, the roots of the systems of separation. We are now called to plant the seeds of remembrance. Remembrance that we are all the earth, that we are all the goddess, that we are all aspects of both of these. They are the two. They are not two, but one. So what do we do during these times of suffering? We strive. Each footstep that we make is turned in the direction of love. Love that simply means the flourishing and respect and interdependence of all life. We are living in times where this striving is necessary. Hate is on the rise. The spirit of the ancient warrior kings are on the move. Entropy seeks to break things down into its simplest forms. One day I'll do a podcast on entropy. Right now, we are repeating a story that exists in the homogenizing binaries of either, either, neither, nor. The earth ain't a binary. She's both and. She is light and she is dark. Though we choose to the best of our ability to walk in the light that is love, that is life. So we can breathe in all of this as we consider the idea that we are evolving towards perfection. And this is a slow process, striving, of evolving. It's a slow process of learning that love means allowing others to live their soul's being fully without intrusion, oppression, or erasure. Because love is life, and to be in alignment with the love of the goddess and Ma Earth means the nurturing of all life in all of its glorious and divinely diverse forms. It is also a process of remembering what many of our indigenous ancestors knew and know, that we are the earth and that the Mother Goddess is inextricably linked. We have no earth, no dream, no life without her essence, breathing, breathing, breathing through every atom, proton, neutron, electron, and element of the periodic table. So in this moment, what does your striving look like? What is the medicine that you carry to the world to help our collective evolution? For every person, it's different. And so we can't judge, don't be judging how people's souls tell them to show up in their evolutionary striving, because it's different. But there is one thing that I think we all can do. We can feed the spirit of the land by appreciating her beauty, appreciating the abundance and the diversity of life as she goes through this very intense shift of evolution and change. She needs right now your love, y'all. So that's something easy that we can do. And it's powerful. Appreciating her beauty. You can appreciate the beauty of the trees, appreciate the flowers, appreciate the wind and the rain. And I don't mean, appreciating somebody's big butt. Like, all right, that doesn't count. Appreciate all of the things that maybe you don't usually take the time to notice. I'm pretty sure that the Earth Goddess is one vain diva, because if there is any diva who deserves to be vain, it is her. All you have to do is see the golden auburn levitating leaves she be rocking in autumn, or the glittering frosted lace look she puts on in the morning after a snow, or the cerulean blue of the Mediterranean or the Caribbean. She got her colors down. Or you, honey, queen, you're fine. Yes, you're fine. I have one more story and then we're wrapping up. I had a friend whose small son of 4, this was years ago, loved peanut butter. Everything was peanut butter. What do you want for breakfast? Peanut butter. What do you want for lunch? Peanut butter. Can I have a snack? Yeah, what do you want? Peanut butter. It was his favorite thing. One day, he saw one of the little church girls and decided that she was the one, the love of his life. So, to show his affection and his intention, he sidled up to her and, in his coolest, suavest 4-year-old tone, he greeted his future wife by saying,
Hey, peanut butter.
it was the highest compliment that he could think to give.
Hey, peanut butter.
This is what the Numina Nomos, builder of worlds, the builder of herself, that is yourself, the great goddess, the old woman of the universe, sitting at the edge of the river, weaving her cycles, singing and dreaming life into being. Dee 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 dong dong, she says to herself upon gazing at the beauty that is the tree, the sea, the chimpanzee, that is those of melana rich and ebony grace, and those whose Nordic caucus skin of milk and pink sunset, or indigenous faces hued for day rise and earthen leaves. Hey, peanut butter, she said to her queer self, her straight and her cis self, her non-binary self. Hey, peanut butter, her able-bodied self, her disabled body self, herself with special needs, mental health, anxiety, and grief. Hey, peanut butter, the Numina Nomos, the great earth goddess, greets herself again and again as she greets herself again. Hey, peanut butter, oh joy. Oh, joy and love. For this is what this earth goddess energy is. Love. And what is her love? Peanut butter. I mean, come on. I want to hear it. What is it? Like, come on. It's life. Her love is life. Nothing more and nothing less. The rest is up to our collective evolution. We get a say in it because she is waiting for us to realize, hey, babies, I'm waiting for you. Come on. You ready? You ready to create with me? Create beauty? Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm ready. So remember, you are peanut butter, unless you're allergic, and then you're chocolate. But seriously, remember, you are the divine experiencing herself in material form. Goddess love, goddess life, goddess you.